Yo, if you're looking to get started with finger drumming inside Serato DJ, maybe this will help. I was looking through the comments on one of my old videos and saw someone wanted me to do a tutorial on finger drumming. So today I'm going to get you into Serato DJ Pro, show you how to get your samples loaded in there, and then give you a couple practice routines that you can do in order to be a better finger drummer. The first thing you're going to do is go to the description and you'll see that I left a link to a zip file where I'm going to leave you my samples as well as a couple practice tools to get started with. So you'll see, you'll open up the zip file and then you can actually drag this straight into Serato. So I'm going to open up Serato DJ Pro. I already have it opened here. Flip back over, grab the folder, go back to Serato DJ Pro, and add it right here. And that'll make things really, really easy for you. So once you click on the folder, you'll see the samples here. Go ahead and sort them by title because that's going to help you in the next step. And then the next thing we're going to do is open up the sampler, head to an empty bank, just like this one. If you need, let's say you have samples in here, all you have to do, click on the little gear and the eject button, and boom, blank slate. So I numbered the samples in order so that you can actually just drag them straight in. So 1 would go to the 1 slot, 2 to the 2 slot, and so on and so forth. And you just drag them in here just like this. And once you have them dragged in, you're going to check a couple things. You'll hit the gear and make sure that they all start on Q1. So you see this one's Q1. Great. If you need to add a cue point for whatever reason, you can load it up. Go to the beginning of the sound, set a cue point, and then go back down to the sample and select Q1. And now we're good. So go ahead and clear out all the gears. You'll also want to make sure this is the play setting that you'll be using inside Serato Sampler. So you just want to make sure that you have the arrow that's dotted with the line on the left, and that's it. That'll make sure that the sample plays and doesn't turn off when you hit the sample a second time. So we got all our samples in there. You can just check. I'm going to hit the sampler button on my Rain 72. And all my samples are in there ready to go. So now that we have our samples loaded into Serato DJ Pro, it's time to start with some basic patterns. I personally like to practice with a hi-hat loop or a metronome on, and you'll notice I added some of those into the zip file. So I'll just drag up my hi-hat loop 100 BPM. I will engage the loop, go ahead and hit play on this channel. And we'll start with our first pattern, which is just left, right on the bottom row, the first 2 pads, which are your kick and your snare, like this. Once you got that down, go ahead and just do it with one hand, probably your left hand. That's going to be the easiest. If you need to do it with your right, that's fine too. But with your left hand, just alternate between the bottom row, first 2 pads, kick and snare, like this. Once you got that down, it's time to add your opposite hand in. And what that's going to do on the 3rd pad of the bottom row, which is your closed hi-hat, that's just going to go alternating with your left hand from the pattern we just did before. It sounds a little something like this. So once you get really comfortable with that pattern at 100 beats per minute, just like in the scratching tutorial, we're going to slow it down. And this might be a little tricky, but you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. So once you've taken that 100 BPM loop, slowed it down to 70 beats per minute, and gotten really comfortable doing the pattern there, now we can speed it up to 124 beats per minute, and I recommend using the house top loop sample that I gave you in that zip folder. And we're going to do the same pattern, and it'll look a little bit something like this. So those of you who are house music fans probably were like, you know, there's something missing from that beat. And you'd be absolutely right. House music has a 4 on the floor drum pattern, which means we're going to hit the kick drum each time. So I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then I'm going to break it down for you. Try and catch what the difference is between the first pattern and the pattern I'm about to do now. So you noticed I hit the kick drum with the first. I'm still doing the alternating. That didn't change. Our opposite hand didn't change with the hi-hat. So I'd hit the first kick drum, and then instead of just hitting the snare, I'm going to hit the kick drum at the same time. And this is pretty easy because we're still doing the one on, one off pattern. All we're changing is that instead of just going down with one finger, we're going to go down with 2 fingers. So we hit the kick and the snare at the same time on the second and fourth beats. Again, watch here. As you get really comfortable with that, the last part of this video is adding the second finger on your opposite hand, which is your hi-hat hand from the pattern before. And we have these 4 pads on the right-hand side, and we can use any of those in our pattern, and it should sound pretty solid. So right now, on the top row, on the 3rd and 4th pad, I have tom drums, which are the drums that are kind of, when you think of a drum roll, those are the drums that you're hitting. So you can change those out for other sounds if you like, but basically, instead of hitting this closed hi-hat every time, now we can use our second finger, and in that same pattern, just jump around, and it should make it sound a little bit more funky. So that should take you a little bit to work on and practice. So that's all I really want to start with. Again, just alternating your hands, making sure you get the whichever finger you want on the kick drum, whichever finger you want on the snare, alternating those, alternating hands. And this is actually pretty easy to learn and pick up quickly, especially if you have some solid rhythm. Make sure you use the loops to keep yourself on time. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. One of my favorite things about finger drumming is you can practice it anywhere. So once you get a feel for which fingers correspond to what pads and what sounds, all you really need is a table. And that translates right back onto the pads. And we can add the second finger on our right hand. So again, if you found this video helpful or interesting, please drop a like. It's definitely going to help other DJs find this video. And if you're liking the type of tutorials I do, or you want to see my performances or hear me discuss DJ related topics, go ahead and subscribe. I definitely appreciate each and every one of you. Leave me a note in the comments if you're enjoying this. Peace and practice.